let's start putting some stuff on sheets. So we have our sections here, our plan, sorry. We'll go to our view tab, plan views. Oh, I'm sorry, sheet view. And then if you haven't loaded in already, which I think we did in the beginning, I'll use this architectural E1. And then we can just drag our level 1 floor plan right onto it. We can select the title block and we'll call it A101. Actually, let's call it A1 point. A1.01 because we'll have A102, 3, 4, and the roof. The next thing we'll want to do is select this view that we just added and then drag the detail title over. And the next thing we'll do is go ahead and double click on this view and make sure you have all of your grid to grid and overall dimensions. We can go ahead and mirror these ones across so we can have them on both sides. Select this middle grid and then same thing over here. You'll add these overall dimension and then the grid to grid. And then we can mirror them right across the middle grid 5. Next thing we'll do is go into your dimensions. And then we'll, or you go up to annotate and get your align dimension. Let's dimension our openings here and our kind of bump out corner. Try to grab the curtain walls. And we'll just go all the way across. Keep it in one string so that you can move it all together. You shouldn't have any individual dimensions in a string like this. They should all be connected. And then let's throw a dimension from this end, bump out to the grid so that they have a starting point. We'll do the same thing on the other side. And then we'll just, we can do the same thing across the width. The building, grab all of these. Openings, and we'll just keep going up with a single dimension. And then to end the dimension, you can just click off into space. So they're not selecting anything. Add this dimension on either end. Now we should be able to mirror this string across, so you can select this, because these windows on this side should be the same. And mirror. And there you go, flip them to the other side. Grab these elevation tags. And actually first let's move our overall dimensions down so that they're closer to this string, and we can kind of tighten up some of our annotations. Just grab the bubble, because if you grab this this front part here, the little arrow, it'll move where this the actual view is cut from. So we can move that, and let's change this from no clip to clip without a line. Hit OK. Then we can get this, we can drag this over so we can see that parapet. And let's do the same thing on the south side. Grab these dimensions, pull them forward, grab the bubble, move it in, and then let's grab the arrow and see where that lives. And we can pull that in too. These will show up with numbers as soon as we put them on a sheet. Let's grab these dimensions, bring them in. And I'm going to grab both of these this time, since I could see that it was out further. Let's bring that in. Change it from no clip to clip without a line. And then drag this forward. And let's do this to this dimension down, this elevation down here. Clip without a line. Drag it forward. And then this last one we'll have to dimension. If we were to mirror this dimension, some of them will go. So here we can do it. So you can see it's going to give you a notification that some dimensions weren't pasted because the dimensions are different. So like here you can see, because we have the big window in the front, but you can just edit witness line when the dimension's selected and then add the missing dimensions. They weren't on here because the front elevation has this big window. And then click over here in space, and we can move these down. And same thing with this. We'll move this building elevation. Let's get it, tuck it in closer to the building, the actual cut, and say no clip. We'll clip without a line. So select that, and that should give us that that far clip offset, so we can drag it to be towards the center of the building, so we can pick up these stair towers at the roof. And that'll be it for now. I want to get these all in so that we can start getting sheets to see how your progress is coming along, because it is almost up. Time is almost up. And I'm just positioning these section cuts just so that they're easy to see and interfere with the dimensions. They won't print if we have the dimensions set, or when we print, we'll have this set to not print anything that's not on a sheet. Let's go to our visibility graphics, go to Revit links, by host, custom, annotation categories, custom, and then check this show annotations. And so we're turning off the grids that are showing up here double in the Revit link. And so that was visibility graphics, Revit links, custom, custom, and it's the annotation category. Okay, okay. And then they disappear. That was just turning off the grid lines in the structural model. All right, so we got our level 1 floor plan. Let's create some additional sheets here. We do A1 2 is going to be our level 2 plan. And let's select this view here, go to the sheets, and see where it says level 1 floor plan. Right click on that and then create view template from view. And we'll just say floor plan. And OK. And then we can actually apply this to all of these views. So select all these views, select view template, and then floor plan, and then hit OK. And then the level 2 view that we just made will have the same parameters, same visibility graphics, and so you see the structural grid was turned off. Let's go to view, view templates, manage templates. Let's kill everything but the one that we just created. So select this first one, and you can just hit this delete until you get to floor plan. It tells you how many they're applied to, and we don't have any view templates applied to any view, so you can see at the top right. And this one says 4 now because we applied it to our floor plans. I'm going to change the level 2 by hitting F2 in all caps, do level 2, and then we'll put in parentheses 3 through 4 sim, which is abbreviation for similar. And no, we don't want to rename the views because then our level views will say that. So here we can rename our sheets. Let's call that A101. We'll call it floor plan, level 1 floor plan. And we'll call the A102 level 2 floor plan. Uh, 3 through 4 sim. And I'll change this up here to level 2 floor plan so it's similar to the others. But I'll put a space in here. You can see it updates the title block. For project name, let's call it retail building. Or actually, sorry, not retail, office space, core and shell. You'll change your name here. I think we went over that in the beginning. The owner will be Len Benton Community College. And that should be it for the title block. Let's create our another sheet for our roof plan. And we'll call it roof plan. Hit F2 to change this to say roof plan. Say no, we don't want to rename the corresponding levels, and we can drag this onto our sheet from the project browser. And then another thing we'll want to do is we'll want to go to annotate. We want to go to the symbol, and here's north arrow 2, and here's our north arrow. If we hit this toggle lines, the thin lines, we can see that the north is pointing that direction. So we can actually copy this, hit the copy clip if this Control-C doesn't work. And we'll paste a line to the same place, adjust our title if we need to. Remember, north is pointing left. And then back to modify, paste a line to the same place, and we'll adjust our view title here. Now let's get some elevations done. So we're going to go to View, Sheet, We'll use that same architectural E that's on Moodle. If you need to know where that is on Moodle, the Revit 30 by 42 title block is here on the very top. So you'd load that in. So we're gonna call these exterior elevations, and these will be A201. And let's check our elevations. I'm going to close level 2 in the roof. This should be our west elevation, and it is. So let's just rename this to west elevation. And we can do that with all of these. So this should be the south. I'm selecting them in the view just to make sure that they're named correctly. Oops. And we can select the arrow to rename them. And north elevation. So we'll go back to our exterior elevations. We'll put 2 on a sheet. So let's start with the west elevation. Adjust the title. I'm going to adjust the crop view here so that it's closer to the bottom of the building. If you need, adjust your grids. If you can get a hold of them, drag them up so you got some room. And for the visibility graphics, let's turn off our Revit link again. So by host view, custom annotations, custom again, and then don't show annotations from the structural model. And I'm going to turn off the crop region visible. Move the view title up centered underneath the view and drag it down so we have room for our next elevation. So we'll go clockwise. So the north elevation will be the next one. And kind of center it up on the screen, and we'll do the same thing. But before we do that, let's go to west elevation, right click, create view template from view, and just put exterior elevations. Excuse me. And hit OK, and then we'll just select all of these in the project browser and change them to the exterior elevations view template. We'll drag these ones up, turn off the crop region visible. I'm going to drag this view title so it lines up with the one below. Select just the view, and then you can drag the tail. Remember, if you try to drag the view with everything selected, it'll all move together. You can drag it independently by just selecting just the tag, and then you can move it around. But if you want to change the size, you have to select the whole view. I'm going to bring this crop region up a bit and turn it off again. Alrighty, some elevations. Now let's go to sheet again on the view tab. It's going to automatically name it the next number, and we'll call it exterior elevations again. And then now we'll drag our east elevation onto the sheet. The same thing. your office will have, wherever you work will have standards about how they want their views to look. So always follow their standards. Where I work, they like a small detail tag. Some places like the the title to be the entire length of the view. And then we'll put the south elevation on here, which will be the last elevation. Same as before, centered. Reduce the size of this title, drag it so it lines up underneath, and then drag the other end. Just going to pull the crop view down a bit and up from the bottom. Uncheck crop region visible. And now we've got our exterior elevations. So the next thing we'll want to do is we'll throw some building sections on the sheet. So I want an overall one through the stair and the elevator, and then through a stair. And you can adjust the tag in as needed. So we'll go back to the View tab, click Sheet, hit OK. Over here, you can have the building sections. Let's see which section is section 1. So section 1 is this one that goes the short direction. So we'll call this wall section or building section. And then it'll be east to west. And this one will be building section north to south. So we're going to rename this sheet to A3.01. I'm going to drag this north to south one on first. I'm just going to reduce the size here. Starting to look like a proper building. Go to my visibility graphics. Make sure that the Revit is custom and the structural link is annotations turned off. I'm going to go to site and I'm going to turn off, sorry, not turn off site, but pads. I want to see what that looks like. And so I think what we can do, I'm going to turn pads back on, because the pads is just a way to get our topography to be at the bottom. So let's go back down to site, turn pads back on, and we'll want to move them up so that the bottom, so we'll move them up 1 foot. So we can select these pads. So let's select the pads for the, not the floors, but the pads below that we added. Let's move those up a foot, so -3'6". So they'll be overlapping, and that's okay. And then here we'll make these +6 inches. And then let's turn the pads off in this view. So back to site, pads, uncheck pads. And let's also, while we're at it, let's turn off the crop region visible. Let's make a view template out of this. So create view template from view, right click on the section that you're in, and then we'll call this building section, maybe. Hit OK. Select both of these and apply building sections. I'm also going to go to the floor plan. I want to go to the view template, and let's go to site. And site is turned off, so we're good to go there. And in our elevations, let's turn the pad off there, just so we're not seeing any weirdness. So if you just select the view, click on exterior elevations, view template, go down to site, and uncheck pads, so we don't see the pads. They went away. Alrighty, so let's name this view building sections. And let's get this other view on here. We want east to west, I think. And kind of like we did the elevations, let's center it up. I'm going to go into this view by double clicking, move my crop view up, and move my other crop view down a bit. If I can get it. And I'm going to turn that crop region visible checkbox off. Excuse me. And then line it up like we did before. All right, so now we got some building sections. So we have our main sheets, our plans, elevations, and sections. Just gonna name this building sections. So next let's create another sheet, and we're going to call this A9.01, and we're just going to call these, we're going to call this sheet perspective views. And what we'll do here is go to view, 3D views. Let's see. Let's open our 3D view. And then we'll grab the camera in our 3D view, pick anywhere off in this corner, and we'll drag forward from this south corner so we can get a shot of our building. So we got an office building. I'm going to change this to orthographic. Check out the scale. Yeah, it always does that kind of weird thing. I'm going to change it to 1/8" scale. And then change it back to perspective. I'm going to close that. And this 3D view one, I'm going to change the name to perspective. Maybe. And that would be from the southwest corner. So it might be too big on the sheet, and we can do this again. Change it from perspective to orthographic. Let's change it to 1/16, and then back to perspective. And we'll just center it up on the sheet here. double click into that view. Let's turn off the crop region visible. Let's also lock this view. So this little house at the bottom, say save orientation unlock. And let's change it to realistic. And let's also, let's see, I gotta remember where this is. There's a way to change the background. Hold on 2 seconds. So this will be on the view tab. And where's background? So yeah, click this graphics here, this little arrow for the graphic display options, and then select backgrounds and do sky and apply. Probably grind for a bit, and it gives us a bit better look of our building. I'm going to turn shadows on. And let's change the sun direction. Click the little sun path. Hopefully we can just change it here in the view. Make it so that the sun is coming from the west direction. So it'll be like an evening shot. I'll just turn it back to, I'm going to unlock it down here, unlock view. And I'm going to turn it to orthographic so I can uncrop this view so I can see the sun path. I guess I don't need to uncrop it. And I'm going to give it a 5 p.m. and then change it back to perspective. And then I'm going to turn the sun path back off and lock the view again. So I'm going to do the same thing, but we're going to make one for the cover sheet. And so, actually, let's make one. So go to sheet, make a 902, and we will do one from the other side. So we'd want to do one from this side. Go to view, 3D views, camera, and then just click and drag and pick off to create your 3D view. I'm going to go to that perspective view. I'm going to right click on that and create a view template from view. And I'm going to put it 3D perspective view. Hit OK. I'm going to apply it to both this 3D, the new one that we just made, and this one, and call it, and apply that view template. So if we go back to this 3D view 1, it should be the same. And then we can just adjust our view here to get it so we like it. In this, I'm going to go to the perspective view template, and where it says background, actually no, let's see, model display. Trying to see if we can adjust where the sun is so that we can actually put the sun on the other side here. And we might be able to do this directly in this view without having to mess with the view template. I'm just going to adjust this a little bit more. Do sun path. Yeah, so it's controlled by this view template. And just looking for where the sun path is controlled from. So what I can do here is uncheck here so that it excludes it from the view template, so I can change it in the individual views. And that was it. So if you go to your perspective view template, uncheck lighting, and it'll allow us to change the sun path. So I'm going to change it back to orthographic so I can see the sun path and adjust it. And I'm hoping that I can adjust it just for this view, but we'll see here in a second. So what I'm doing is adjusting it so that it's the light is on this side of the building now. And I'm going to check out R901 to see, yep, it looks like it's stuck. That is, the sun is that direction. And in our new view, it's on, the sun is coming from this side. So I'm going to drag this 3D view 1 that we just created onto the sheet. And it's the opposite problem we had before. So we'll change the perspective to orthographic. Change the scale to, what did we do, 1/16. Change it back to perspective. We can turn the sun path off. We can center this up on our sheet. Tighten the crop view. And we may have to, excuse me. I think I'm going to take it off of perspective real quick to orthographic. Change the scale to be a little bit larger. Let's try 3/64. Change it back to perspective. And that looks good. So we're just turning to orthographic, changing the view so that we can kind of get a better angle at the building or get a better scale. Because once you turn it to perspective, obviously it doesn't really have a scale, but it's kind of the only way I could figure out how to size it without is by doing that. I'm going to uncheck crop region visible. I'm going to change this view. I'm going to actually copy the view name from the other view we named and paste it into this view, and then this will be a view from the northeast corner. And let's rename these to perspective views again. Let's name it perspective view since they're singular. And so now we've got a pretty good start on our sheets. We still have more sheets to add, but this will get me a good idea of where you guys are at, because we'll be able to see your level 1 floor plan and your dimensions. And while we're at it, yeah, let's do this too. So let's go to our view tab and then do a call out. And let's create a call out for the bathrooms, for the stair, and for the elevator. And we'll do the same thing on this other side. So call out for the bathroom. For the elevator, and for the stair. So the elevator machine room, and so we can get an enlarged plan of that as well. And what we're doing is creating enlarged plans that we're going to stick on sheets so that we can dimension them and detail them out. And one more call out at the stair here. So go to sheet again, hit OK, and let's name these sheets. Hold on one moment. So large plans, I mean, there is kind of a system for a naming convention, but it really does vary wildly. Let's just call it a 4.0 1, and then enlarged restroom plans. And I'm going to, geez, I don't remember which ones were which. Close some of these views and just have some floor plan open, toggle views. So this is called level 1 floor plan call out 1. We're going to call it enlarged women's restroom. I'm going to throw it on the sheet here. Do the same thing with this other, the male restroom. Call this, I like to copy the names so I don't have to type as much. And then men's restroom. And we'll just put it on the same sheet. Just these view titles. Let's create another sheet. This will be for our stairs. So we'll call this enlarged plans stair 1. And we're going to make this one on the left stair 1. And we'll call this enlarged stair 1 plan, numero uno plan dash level 1. Do another sheet. We'll call this 403. And I'm going to copy this name so that we can rename this next sheet as stair 2. So you can see it starts filling out the tags for us as we place stuff on sheets. This one, we'll call this the same thing, copy. Add this to the sheet. We can come up and clean some of these up later. And we'll do another sheet for our elevators. And we'll call this one enlarged elevator in machine room. We'll call this elevator number 1. Or #1 as the kids say these days. So enlarge elevator 1 in machine room. And we'll just do one sheet for this, I think. And we'll call this enlarged elevator plan. And let's grab this other one. Should be our last one. Copy that name from the previous elevator machine room. Call this elevator 2. And we'll drag it on the sheet as well. I'm going to reorganize these on the sheet here. Usually just drag it underneath to line them up if they're not going to be stacked. And then we'll actually cut a section through here and here of just the elevator, and we'll do the same thing for the stairs and add them on this sheet. And typically we'll have, well, it kind of depends depending on what we have. We'll have one, we'll have a plan for each level, but if they're pretty much the same, then often we will not. So we got quite a few sheets that we just created in a short amount of time, but I think that'll give me a good idea of where you are at. So after you get these all plated up, as it were, let's create a cover real quick. And I'm just going to call this A 1 point, actually A 000. And just call it cover sheet. Let's go to our view tab here, schedules, sheet list. Let's scroll down and go to sheet number, add that, and sheet name. Hit OK. It's going to pop up the schedule for the sheet list. Stretch it out so we can see it. We're going to go to edit appearance. I'm going to uncheck blank row before data. We don't need the headers. And the title, we can, sorting and grouping, we're going to sort by number. Sorry. Hit OK. And then we'll just call this sheet index. And close that now. Over here on the project browser, we have our sheet index. And we can just drag it onto our sheet. I don't think I had you guys load in the cover. But we can set that up next time where we set up the, so it reads the project information. Let's do one more 3D view because I like doing them. Go to our main 3D view, go to view, camera. Let's get like a straight on view. Oops. I want to zoom region. See, I don't think that's actually zooming the region. I think it's just zooming the view. Let's do this airplane. See what that does. Yeah. Let's just adjust our crop box around to get our sheet view. Hold shift and use middle mouse click to kind of pan around. I'm going to change this to orthographic view. Change the scale to 1 inch equals 20 just for now. And check the crop region so we can adjust that. Gotta get more of a bird's eye view of this building. Let's change it back to perspective. Change it to, actually, let's change this to our 3D perspective view template. Make sure and check the crop view so it cuts it all off. Let's check out what it looks like on the cover. Grab this 3D view one. Yeah, I like that size. We'll just call this perspective view. Doesn't have to be perfect. I just like, I guess it's I go fiddling with it. All right, I'm gonna leave it well enough alone. We can come back to that later if we need to kind of resize this. And actually, I'm going to select this view. I'm going to hit edit type, duplicate, and I'm just going to call this cover sheet. Actually, I'm going to call this viewport no title. And then where it says show title, I'm going to say no and hit OK. Because we don't really need the title. All right, once you get all those done, get all your sheets plated up as it were, go ahead and hit print. So you can either hit Control P, come up here, print, print again. So we should have already set this up, but just in case, here's the settings that you'll need to have. Offset from corner, 30 by 42, landscape, zoom 100%, hide, reference planes, unreferenced view tags, scope boxes, and crop boundaries, just in case we forgot to turn any off. We're going to select selected views and sheets. Make sure to combine them. Hit select. I always hit check none. Uncheck views. We're going to select all these views. And we'll save as prelim set. Hit OK. And now we should be able to hit OK. Yes, that's fine. It's just telling us that the shading, it just gives us a warning about the shading. Let that grind for a bit. And then we'll check it out. Make sure when you print and upload that you look at your PDF. If you have any issues printing, please let me know, or come to the Tuesday or Thursday meeting so that we can help get you squared away. But it's important to get them printed correctly. So look at them before you submit them to make sure that they're printed correctly. And we'll take a look at the PDF that I've just printed just to show you what I'm talking about. Might take a while because we have all those fancy perspective views. So then the Bluebeam printing should pop up. And just save it to your folder. It should already be named. For the most part, what you want, the class number, your last name, underscore your first name, architectural model. But we'll change architectural model, and we'll just call this preliminary set. Actually, we're going to call it, put the date on it. So this is 16th, and we'll call it prelim. So course number, underscore last name, underscore first name, the date, and prelim. You hit save. It'll grind some more. Almost there. We'll take a look at it and go through what this should look like. Almost there. That's opening up now. I'll bring it over so we can take a look. Worst part is printing, and this is pretty common. It's going through all that time to find out it didn't print right. That's always super frustrating, but welcome to the wild world of drafting. So here it is. You can see down here it says 42 by 30. These sheets should be 42 by 30, not 8.5 by 11 or 11 by 17. Make sure all the sheets are on here, where you've got the white space around and not like zoomed into the, where the sheet's in the middle and there's like 2 inches of space. They should all be about the 1/2 inch border. Just kind of page through them, make sure nothing's flying off the edge. So here I'm gonna have to reprint to see that the double grids. So I'm looking at that. I'll show you what it looks like to reprint a single sheet, making sure everything looks copacetic just at a glance. And then I will let you know what I'm grading. I mean, really at this point, I want to see dimensions, all these callouts. We can change the line weights too on some of these. We'll do that in a later video. So it's more readable. But just make sure everything looks good when you've printed it out. Like I said, make sure there's only like a 1/2 inch space for the title block. Got our fancy 3D views, which is probably why it's taking so long to print and obviously to load here. And so I don't want to go through and load and do a big print again. So what do we see? My roof plan. Let's just select this view. I'm going to apply that view template, the floor plan view template. And it looks like I fixed that issue right away. I'm just going to zoom in to make sure it didn't set the view range off, because sometimes it'll, if the view range might be set differently on these plans and it might make it look bad. I'm actually going to check, make sure my north arrows on my overall plans are pointing in the right direction. I don't really like these north arrows. Maybe we'll change that in another video. Yep, looks like they are. So I'm just going to print this one sheet. So go ahead and go to print, selected views and sheets, check none this time, uncheck views, and then we'll just check roof plan. Hit OK, and I'm going to create separate files. It's going to give me a warning, but I only want to print one file, but I want it to name it roof plan. So hit OK. If you have it combined multiple files, you'll have to name it roof plan yourself. But this way, if I have create separate views, it'll create it based on the name of the sheet. And this should be much faster. Came right up. So here's our prelim. I'm just going to save this architectural one, A101, A1.03 roof plan right in here. It opened it right up again. I'm going to take a quick look. Looks good to me. I'm going to close this. I'm going to go to my thumbnail views. I'm going to click on this roof plan. Right click on the thumbnail and replace page. Go to my folder where I just printed that individual sheet. Select this A103 roof plan, open. I'm going to uncheck replace page content only. Actually, one of the other options kills the bookmark. I think if I hit replace page content only, that'll save the bookmark. And we'll go back and check. So if you go to bookmarks, and then, yep, looks like it's saved. So I'm going to save this, and I'll upload this as an example on Moodle. So let me know if you guys have any questions. Thanks.